Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Rambling Bout Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Pearl, and what an incredible pay-per-view we had yesterday. We had AEW All In 2024, and this show was full of bangers. We have a bunch of new champions. We have a brand new AEW World Champion. This guy, Bryan Danielson, he didn't want to win the championship, much like Sting, but Tony Khan finally convinced him. I don't think Bryan's going to have a long reign at all, but he's champion. He's in the lineage now. We had Jamie Hayter make her long-awaited return to wrestling. She's been out for a very long time, over a year. People weren't sure if she was ever going to be coming back. It didn't get leaked. I heard maybe one person on Twitter saying that Jamie Hayter will be at the show. They didn't know in what capacity. Oh, well, we found out immediately. Saraya's in the ring, throwing a fit. Out comes Jamie Hayter with her banger of a theme song. Beats the hell out of everybody in Saraya's family. Goes to beat Saraya up. Saraya jumps out of the ring, runs away. There is a great feud right there. You have Saraya, who feels like she's been underappreciated and undervalued in AEW. And you have Jamie Hayter, who was also underappreciated and undervalued until she won the World Championship. But even when she was the World Champion, she was still sitting behind Britt Baker. So I'm really interested to see what that dynamic is going to be like. Because Jamie Hayter, she's going to get a rematch for her world title. She lost it to Tony, and then she was out. Jamie Hayter versus Mariah May. This is their next big feud you could have. But of course you got to give Jamie some wins first. You could have the match against Deonna Purrazzo. You could have the match against Britt Baker, against Mercedes, against Camille. You have so many women in your division. This time last year, you didn't have that big of a women's division. Now look at what you've got. You have Toni Storm left without a dance partner. Who beat Jamie Hayter for the championship? Toni Storm. So now that they successfully rebuilt their women's division in AEW, we have to rebuild the tag team division. You have three of the top tag teams in your company, probably the top three, in FTR, the Young Bucks, and the Acclaimed. Very, very good. The Young Bucks won. Who would go after the Young Bucks now? Well, we got our answer immediately. We have the Grizzled Young Veterans. These guys, so underappreciated, just much like Jamie Hayter was, till she won the championship. The Grizzled Young Veterans were stuck in schism in NXT. They were never going to do anything in that group. They shaved all their facial hair. I don't even know what they were trying to do with them. They were never going to get anywhere with that. Zach Gibson, he won the NXT UK tournament, I think the second one. Yes, he didn't win the championship, but he was over as hell. You put him with James Drake, great tag team, and then you just kind of let them sit there in NXT? I don't get it. But they've been making a name for themselves once they got back on the free agent market. They had some matches in TNA, but now it seems as though they're fully signed. I don't think they got the graphic, but they're there to stay. You don't bring a new talent in on your biggest show of the year without them being locked down to a contract. So you got Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Young Bucks. That's probably going to be the all-out match that we have. And I have the Grizzled Young Veterans taking the tag team championships and fully starting the rebuilding of this tag team division. Because they had the best tag division. Where'd it go? Couldn't tell you. But we're about to find out where it's going to be. Now we move on to the Casino Ladder match. And in itself, I love this idea. This is their Royal Rumble. The fact that it can end at any point is awesome. It adds so much unpredictability. They didn't even announce who was in this. Anybody could come out at any time. I think it only goes up to 21 competitors, but we only knew Orange Cassidy was confirmed. Yes, Evil Uno said he was in it. He never actually made it out to the ring. Hangman Adam Page says, screw him, I'm in. It's just full of shenanigans, and I love it. You start off with Orange Cassidy, you got Okada, and then out comes Nigel McGuinness. Earlier on in the night, I was saying, this is such weird match placement. I don't know what they're trying to do here. The hook match happens, they put Taz on commentary. I said, this is very strange. But then a thought popped in my head. What if Nigel's going to be in the Casino Gauntlet? And then everybody around me was like, Nick, you might be right. I just thought it was the weirdest thing. Something said Nigel's going to be in this match. Lo and behold, Nigel makes his in-ring return after years. He didn't take many bumps. But you're obviously going to have Nigel factored into some program with Bryan Danielson. I'm sure that's going to be his legit retirement match. Nigel looked good in there. At one point, you had him, Kyle O'Reilly. It was like 2006, 2007 Ring of Honor in 2024. Nigel is not the only talking point from this. You had Ricochet finally making the jump from WWE to AEW. Yes, it was expected. Yes, it was reported. But he looked awesome here. I can't wait to see him bring back a bunch of his moves that have been lost. The double backflip. Ooh, if you guys haven't seen that, the last time he did it, or probably the only time he did it in WWE, was in War Games. And he did it from the top of the cage. I cannot wait to see that Will Ospreay match. It's inevitably going to happen for the International Championship, no longer the American Championship, where Will Ospreay has just regained this belt after a very good match against MJF. It didn't quite get to the level that their first matchup got to. It was fun. It took a little bit to pick up, but once it started picking up, you got the shenanigans. You got the returning Danny Garcia. He did not sign a new deal with AEW, but his contract, as of now, it's reported he's there till at least October. I don't see him jumping. I see Danny Garcia signing again for another 3 to 4 years. You have him versus MJF, where MJF is going to make Danny Garcia's career. You got to remember, Danny Garcia beat Bryan Danielson. Now, Bryan's the world champ. Danny Garcia technically could beat him again. But the MJF Danny Garcia will probably have the match at All Out. We're probably going to have Hangman versus Swerve at All Out. It was reported that it was happening. I'm sure it's going to get some type of crazy stipulation because Bryan Danielson, like I said before, Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Champion. He did not want to win the belt. Tony Khan made him. And he's also not signed. He is out of a contract. Bryan Danielson right now is working contract free. He could show up wherever the hell he wants, and yet he's the world champion. I don't like that companies do this, but Bryan is a loyal guy. He's not going to go anywhere. I don't see him leaving AEW. Tony Khan said it before. If something were to happen to him, then he would trust Bryan Danielson to run the creative. So Bryan, I'm sure, is staying in AEW for a very, very long time. Will he take time off? 100%, absolutely. When does he drop the belt? Darby Allin at Grand Slam, which I will be attending. And I'm sad Grand Slam's not going to be in Arthur Ashe next year. We got the Australia Grand Slam as a pay-per-view. They had a good run. I'll miss it. You also have the winner of the Casino Gauntlet, Christian Cage. Bryan Danielson's dad died. Christian Cage, ooh, there's a story right there. And Christian could say, your daddy wants to retire, but I could be your real daddy. So we got a lot we could go on with that too. I really thought Christian was going to cash in at the end of the night after Bryan won the belt, because Christian had been on the show twice. I thought a third time, why the hell not? But they didn't do it. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. Imagine the heat Christian would have gotten. Bryan wins, celebrating in the ring with his family. Out comes Christian. Christian dropped the trios titles in the ladder match. We now have Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club as your trios champions. Christian said he wants all the belts. Christian will get all the belts. He's going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. Not a lot of people actually pull through. Christian's the guy that will pull through. And down the line, you're going to get him versus Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus could be the first Grand Slam champion in AEW. Luchasaurus is world champ. What the hell? Why not? Let's do it. You have a brand new AEW Women's World Champion in Mariah May. She has finally defeated Toni Storm in their first singles matchup. Mariah May, this was the end goal for her since even before she got signed. Tony Khan presented this idea for this storyline to her, and then Mariah signed, saying, ooh, I'm going to be world champion. This is going to be the greatest women's story in history, and guess what? I think this is the best women's storyline in any company in a very, very long time. I can't say in history, but in a very long time. You have not built up a program this well. Everybody loves Tony. People are pissed at Mariah for playing Tony, even though they knew exactly what was going on. Tony even knew what was happening. She loved Mariah. She doesn't love her anymore. Tony's going to be gone for a bit. Give Mariah Jamie Hayter. My match of the night, gotta be Bryan versus Swerve. Swerve was an excellent world champion for the last few months, and him losing the belt, you would think that would hurt someone's stock. He put on an absolute banger against Bryan. Swerve walked out holding his head up high, and then he partied. Swerve, you have been great, and you're going to get back there. It's just there's so many people in the company right now that can be a world champion that it's a missed opportunity if they don't get a chance with the belt. Swerve had a 4-month reign. Bryan's going to have a short one. Samoa Joe only had a run for a few months. They were in a good place. People say AEW's dying. Nobody wants to watch AEW. Watch this show and then come back to me. Fantastic show. Enjoyed the hell out of it. If you haven't seen some of my reaction videos, they're up on YouTube and the Instagram. We had some good ones, baby, let me tell you. But I've been your host, Nick Pearl, and I will catch you all on the next episode where we will be talking about my experience going back to Major League Wrestling. Yes, I'm going to see Major League Wrestling live yet again. There will be an episode dropping either Thursday night, Friday, or Saturday. It's not exactly going to be on Thursday this week. I'll catch you on the next one. Let's keep rambling, everybody.